Hello viewers, welcome to Generations Gist with Joy. This show is here to x-ray and showcase how generational transition and individual experiences and relationships have impacted and shaped contemporary human behavior and national development and advancements. Today's discussion promises to be very educating, refreshing, and inspiring. Just stay relaxed and enjoy it. I am your host, Joy Onu. But before we continue, let us go on a very short break. Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The world is no longer a global village. It is a neighborhood. Generations come and go, but the gist they start lingers. The platform that sustains those gists is here. Be a part of the conversation on Generations Gist with Joy. From policymakers to politicians, medical personnel to traders, labor leaders to students, the young and the old. It's Generations Gist with Joy on this channel every Saturday at 9 a.m. with a repeat broadcast on Sunday at 9 a.m.
It's your generation, it's my generation, it's our generation.
Come, let's tag along on Generations Gist with Joy. Please join us.
You are welcome back. Today we shall be talking about the evolution of real estate development in Nigeria, impacts on the economy. History has it that real estate business in Nigeria is traced back to the pre-colonial time, with traditional practices of land ownership and allocation with different customs and systems across the country. With the arrival of the colonial leadership in the country, land management system underwent significant changes with the introduction of formal ownership, regulation, and land tenure systems. However, rapid urbanization and population growth after the Nigeria independence in 1960 fueled the demand for housing and urban infrastructures, giving rise to the emergence of the real estate business in Nigeria. In fact, the real estate business in Nigeria has come a long way since its inceptions, from the traditional land practices to the modern and the dynamic industry we see today. In fact, the sector has evolved to meet the changing needs of a growing population. While challenges persist, the real estate industry presents significant opportunities for growth, investment, and socio-economic development, contributing to Nigeria's overall progress. I have with me in the studio a real estate guru to help discuss and enlighten us on this very important topic. I will be introducing a real estate consultant and a public affairs commentator. He is the MD CEO STRATECH Properties Limited, a certified international property specialist CIPS. He is a fellow Society of Project Management FSPM. He is the immediate past General Secretary PDP Professional and Business Group. Presently, he is a member BOT PDP Professional and Business Group. Ambassador Moses Kolawole Obisesan.
Thank you very much, madam. It's a
Ambassador,
pleasure.
you are welcome.
Thank you
to
so
this
much.
show.
Thank you.
In fact, I'm so glad having you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And you know, real estate is one thing that is on the lips of everybody in Nigeria now.
Yeah.
Before we delve into, the business of the day,
Yeah.
actually, what is real estate and how does it really work, especially in Nigeria?
Real estate is simply, like it is generally said, is the only estate that is real. Basically, we're just saying that real estate is anything that you have on and on top of land is real estate.
Anything?
Yeah. If you like, whether you said, oh, I build a hut on the land, or I do a skyscraper on land, or I do whatever you do on land is actually real estate. Now, whether we now dive into nitty-gritty of it, but just imagine land. I tell you, agriculture is actually real estate. It's part of real estate. You know, I mean, where you have to farm on a whatever, it's a piece of real estate. It's part of real estate. Anything that you do on land, you know, that generates income for you, that do all of that, is real estate. You know, but so if you ask me, I would say that real estate encompasses all that, all the businesses that is tied to land. Once it's not in the sea and it's not in the air, but it's on the surface of the land, on earth, it's real estate. Yeah. So because I'm trying to use things so that people can really have a broad idea of it, even as we now carefully go into the nitty-gritty. Yeah. Okay, so will you now say that a personal house you build on the land is a real estate? Sure, it's real estate. That's an investment. That's real estate investment that you build by yourself, or you buy from someone who has built, or it's a real estate. So you can actually develop your real estate by yourself, or you can ask someone, maybe a trained developer, to do that. It's because an average person, I'm going to give you a story of my mother. My mom spent 37 years of her life. She's going to be, next month, less than a month's time, she's going to be 80. She spent 37 years to build a property. You know why? She bought a property in Lagos. She bought a property, this Lagos Ogun side, and you bought a property from the Omonile, you know, the traditional whatever. Omonile simply means those who own land in Lagos. So you buy a property from a family, then you have Omonile coming to disturb you. Then after a while, you get all of your stuff together. They measure a land. They want to actually, you know, they want to encroach on your land. You fight them. After a while, you go to the local government to go register the paper to notify them that you have bought this property from a particular family, and then from there you escalate to the state government, you know, to be able to actually also get certain documentation and all of that on that land. Then after you've gotten a few things that are okay with you, there may be an RFO, which is actually right of occupancy, not ownership. Certificate of occupancy, right of occupancy. So RFO. Now, when you get an RFO, it's beautiful enough for you to be able to say, okay, let me now engage all of the experts, what's it called, whether you want to say draftsman, if it is just a very small local place, or you want to have an architect, you know, to be able to actually put a kind of little design for you that they need for you to be able to build and all that. Then you go through all that, you know, before you can even settle down to be able to construct. You know, so I said 37. Since then I said, nah, the route of getting to buy a land, perfect the documentation, ward off all the intruders, make sure you get all of the designs, register the design. Because for instance, if you are in Abuja, after you think you've done a design, you take it to development control. They are going to check whether the design is palatable with them, whether it's in sync with what they want that area to be and all that. You know, so the back and forth, because of one piece of building, is time consuming. So I tell people, yes, you can build by yourself, but if it's not a massive gigantic structure, why do you want to go through that? Why are you not buying the building? Minimum that I tell anybody is buy what I would call carcass. Now, carcass simply means a land build, all of the block work built, uncompleted building. You build it up and you roof. That's a carcass. You understand? Yeah. So if you buy at that point, you can actually talking about development, like you said, like your mom bought a land and started developing it over time. Now, and like I asked earlier, how does it really work in Nigeria? The real estate. We're talking about the business right now. How does it work? Yeah, the best, when you say how does it work, it works both informal and formal way. The informal is for somebody to say, I got a land from my father. If it's in Lake, if it's in the village where there's less regulation, oh, it's my father's piece of land, then I actually get a design, maybe a draftsman. The reason why I try to run away from saying architect because of the cost, you know, it's just like a technician to an architect. So you get a design anyhow, and you say, okay, this is 4-bedroom or 3-bedroom bungalow I want to do, and then when you're done with that, normally, usually, if it is in FCT, because I'm going to be telling you about what you can do generally and what you need to do if you are in a very controlled and structured place like FCT. If it's FCT, let's use FCT because this is where we are. The first thing is that when you acquire a land, I tell you, quickly notify the government, irrespective of where you buy the land. Because actually government is the owner of all lands in Nigeria. Now, sometimes they allow the locals, those people who have actually been farming, the locals who have been on that piece of land, you know, for a long while, they allow them some level of rights to farm with it, rights to be able to actually, even sometimes they even allow it that it can change hand. You hear that a particular family or local government and all of that have actually sold the land. But it has a proviso. You must take that piece of document and perfect it.
Okay.
So what that means is that, these particular village people have sold their farmland to me. No problem. Just take that stuff, let them know at the local government that this land is sold, then bring it ultimately to FCT, AGIS, Abuja Geographical Information System, AGIS. They're right there at Area 11. You tell them about this piece of land that you have just bought. They will register into the system so that no other person can claim ownership to that. That's the first thing you must do.
But recently there are issues about land ownership with the FCT minister.
Yes.
About like they've gotten their documents and the FCT minister is saying they should demolish all those areas. Then what actually happened?
No.
Case?
This is the thing. Now, after you've registered land, that's ages, you end there. The next thing is that you want to build. Now, when you want to build, you put yourself, you put your technical team together. The architect, the architect will do a kind of design for you. When you're done, you look at it and you take that design to development control. Now, development control will look at it and see whether your design is in sync with what they want in that area. Now, they are the one to approve your design. Now, even if the land is okay, but your design is not, they will pull down the building.
So is that what is applicable to the recent cases we were having in Abuja?
There are so many, there are a number of cases. I'll tell you, there is one where someone was given a land, but he never perfected the document. Those ones are on one side. They never perfected. They just say, hey, okay, I was given this land by honorable minister or by whoever. But what you're supposed to do is to go back to ages and perfect it. There are bills to pay for perfection. For you to get an allocation from the government will first of all start by giving you allocation. When they give you allocation, you perfect it further to R of O. You understand? Then from R of O to C of O. C of O is the best, is the final stuff that you get in FCT. Now, if you have not done all that, that land can still be contended by anybody.
Okay. Then, okay, go on.
So after going through that route, I got a land, I perfected it, I got a design, I registered it with development control. Now you can now build. Well, what some people do, even when a particular stuff has been approved, they now do extra to that design. What that means is, for instance, if you have said, I want to do a 2-story building, why taking it to 3?
Okay.
If you say I want to do 10-story building, why making it 15? They will not accept it. They will bring it down because there are so many things that are being put under consideration to give you an approval.
Okay.
So if you do a thing that is contrary to that house can be pulled down. If you want to change the design, you still go back to them and say, sorry, I bought this house as a residential piece of land, you know, but right now I want to do commercial. They can ask you why. The place is a bit noisy right now. It's close to rail station. Is that? Go to market. Really, using it as residential may be challenging for me because there are so many different uses of a land.
Okay, now how big is the real estate business?
Let me just say this. There's a contention about the size of housing deficit. I'm talking about just a decent house. I'm not talking about luxury and all of that. Just a decent house that human being can stay.
Okay.
Currently, the deficit is put at over 20 million units. Currently, over 20 million. Some say 28, some say 20. Just for discussion purpose, let's just say 20 million units. Now, you imagine that even if an average house costs 10 million naira, and then you want to do 20 million, that exactly is 20 trillion. Do you understand? So even if you said an average house is costing 10 million, because there are houses that cost, let's say 10, 5, maybe the cheapest house you can get, one room self-contained, maybe 5 million. That's the cheapest.
To build it.
Yeah, to build it. Currently, that's the cheapest that you have. 5 million for a house. So, and you have the one for, if it's going to be a 1-bedroom flat, it can go to another 10. If it's 2-bedroom flat, it can go for 15 or 20 to build it. 3-bedroom, maybe about 30, like that. So, if you now check, because you are saying how big, the point I'm trying to say is that the real estate is in hundreds of trillion naira. I mean, it's worth hundreds of trillion.
Business.
In Nigeria. In Nigeria. I'm talking about Nigeria right now. Our housing deficit is worth hundreds of trillion of naira. I would say that it's actually one area that can take maybe some of the biggest investment you can ever think about.
We still have deficit of housing in Nigeria.
Yeah, sure. If you want to know whether you have deficit, there was a time that they did an head count under Ojuelegba Bridge. 500 people were sleeping on Ojuelegba Bridge. Fact.
Was it because there was deficit or because they cannot afford it?
Well, deficit and affordability go hand in hand. I will also tell you an area that shows deficit. If you see the rate at which slum is springing up everywhere, that's housing deficit. We're talking about decent house. So if you see anybody that just makes some under our bridge a shelter, there's housing deficit. I'm talking about affordable housing. If you build houses in Metama it runs into billions and nobody can afford it, then you still have deficit because human beings can't. Regular human. Masses cannot afford it, and so it is still there. And you see nobody's staying in that. If you also want to know whether, so I told you about the slum everywhere. If you go, you see Gariki village, you see Mabuchi village, you see Utako village, you see Gwarimpa village. All of those villages are just beautiful names to couch them, but is that they actually slum within the cities.
Okay, now what are the major?
Do you know the biggest slum that we have in Abuja? No. Is in Mpape. Mpape is a disaster waiting to happen. Where you have millions of people staying in an unorganized environment. It's unorganized. This is not the road system, the water system, the power line, the sewer line. The things, the infrastructures are not put in place to be able to be. Something that is actually, that can stand the test of time. Everybody I just get a small land, I just build one thing, one hawk like that. This one build one.
And what do you think government should do to stop those kind of things?
What government should do? The last time when I visited UK, even places where nobody is staying, there's road infrastructure already laid down. There's water. There's power. To the place, so that when you do, somebody has said it. Just do the basic thing. Nigerians will continue from there. If all land, if government can be a step ahead to ensure that there is road infrastructure to an area. You want to open up an area, just do road infrastructure. You just lay your water line, and then you take your power source to there and leave it. People will construct decent houses. Developers will come over there and pull
Okay, right now, what are those important things to consider before venturing into real estate business in Nigeria?
Okay, when you say
because so many people are aspiring to be in that business, what should they consider?
The first thing is knowledge. It's the first thing. Knowledge of the industry. You need to know, because real estate that you're talking about has several sides of it. You understand? There are quite a number of areas where you can come in. So if you try to learn about it, when you say I want to go into real estate, is it the marketing side that you want to go into? Is it the production side that you want to go into? Is it the demand side? The demand side is those people who want to buy. Do you want to go and be organizing the buyers to say, okay, buyers, these are the better ways for you to buy your house? How do you mean? Helping people to generate their what's it called, their equity. You know, because there are some banks that are looking for who to give equity to. Equity is actually the money you pay down. You know, whether you want to help people to be able to get their mortgages, whether you want to get people to be able to actually access their, you know, all ways by which they can acquire it. So if you go to offices and you said, you know what, I know that you guys are up to 20, 50 or 100 here. I want to get you organized into so that you can be able to buy a house. That can be a way. I mean, that's actually a way to go. You might just say, okay, you know what, I have the power of the internet, I have the power of the social media, I just want to be a freelance marketer. All you do is just for you to check some of the developers and see the houses that they have, and then you register with them and just say, you know what, I want to do a freelance marketer for you. Now what I would do is that, because in my social media handle, in my Facebook, my Twitter, my LinkedIn, my Instagram handle and all of that, I want to be able to promote your product. For anybody who follows me and want to buy through me, then you'll be able to actually give me a commission. That's an area to go. You may also say that, okay, you know what I just want to do is to sell the materials. Okay, the building block, okay, I want to just be molding blocks, I want to be able to, you might just say, I just want to be selling cement. All of these, or I want to sell building material, all of these are value chain in the real estate sector. So if you say somebody want to jump, I will first of all ask, which side, where do you want to play? Because there are several, there's not less than 7 areas you can play in the real estate. So you are the one to pick the one that you think resonate with you, because you can't do everything. You can't do from beginning to the end. No, you're going to be torn apart. But you pick the area, one area, and then be able to say, okay, this is the area I want to be because it resonates with me. Maybe, for instance, you're a mother, you want to be able to work at the comfort of your home. It might just be freelance marketing that is just good for you. And when I'm talking about doing digital marketing. Because some people, marketing technology has gone into real estate, that you don't need to be on the street to be able to make. Some people make billions just sitting at home. Now when I say sitting at home, it's not playing, it is making sure that all of the handles are working. Because the more persons that you attract, that you can say something and that they can take you seriously.
Yeah, like I know some real estate companies, here we will not mention names like that, that are into marketing, like network marketing, kind of, like 1, 2, 3 of them that I know in Nigeria. They are spread across the whole of this country, buying land, engaging women and so on, youth, churches, mosques, to sell real estate or sell land and properties, in Nigeria. Having done that, what do you think are the major factors that are affecting the real estates in Nigeria?
You see, the first thing is credibility. I tell you, sincerely, there are so many persons who are out there for a wrong reason. So when anybody just say, oh, okay, I see people who are marketing, so I want to market for them, I will say that you do your due diligence. Because if you don't do your due diligence, yeah, you came in to want to make money, you can go out making debts. Yeah, that's the truth. Because I take it for instance, if you are the one who linked somebody to, if I linked you to a developer, and I say this developer has a land or a house to sell, and then you part with your money, and if for any reason this person, the so-called developer, sold that same land to 2 or 3 persons or even more, we've seen people, then once you are having issues with that particular property, you call me in and then say, you are the one who, you are the agent, or you are the one who introduced me to whatever. So I usually tell people, please do your due diligence. The first due diligence you do is to confirm the authenticity of the paper on the land. That's the first one. You go to Aegis. If you tell the people, give me the paper, let me check. So if you take it to Aegis, Aegis will confirm, is this paper genuine? Number one, is it free of any encumbrance? So when they confirm that, one, check. The second one, you ask, do you have an approved design of building on that property? If they say they do, give me a copy. You take it, you go to development control. Development control, please help me check whether this design is approved. Okay. Development control will tell you, yes, it is approved. Second one, check. The third, you go to that company, you verify where their office is, and say, okay, I want to know your office. Then I also want to know some of the properties that you've done in the past. When you do that, you check. Good. You now do the final one that you do it on the CEO. Sometimes I tell you that some people they lack integrity. Even when the Aegis has approved, this one has done, they are just not settled to be able to do a proper business. So you check the person out. You first of all check, does he have a background of integrity or background of just
we'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Let us go on a short break.
That's okay.
Please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The world is no longer a global village. It is a neighborhood. Generations come and go, but the gist they start lingers. The platform that sustains those gists is here. Be a part of the conversation on Generations Gist with Joy, from policymakers to politicians, medical personnel to traders, labor leaders to students, the young and the old. It's Generations Gist with Joy on this channel every Saturday at 9 a.m. with a repeat broadcast on Sunday at 9 a.m.
It's your generation, it's my generation, it's our generation.
Come, let's tag along on Generations Gist with Joy. Please join us.
You are welcome back, and we are still on Generations Gist with Joy, and the topic is real estate in Nigeria. So you were talking about credibility in real estate business. How has that actually affected it right now? Because we've heard a lot, like some real estate people don't even trust people. You know, you want to talk to people, they don't trust you, and because of the bad eggs in the industry. So what regulation is the body of the real estate? You know, there must be a body, professional body also, putting in place to check those kind of bad eggs.
First, I tell you that the lack of credibility and lack of honesty and transparency on the part of some developers, some bad eggs among the developers, has really wreaked havoc on the industry. I tell you, so many people are in pain just because they paid their money, you know, and the house they never got. They paid money, you know, and after many years, you know, back and forth here and there, excuses may be given, but they never got their house. There are two sides to this. For those who paid payment, you know, and never also met their obligation. That's why I tell anybody, whenever you want to sign a contract, please look at the contract very carefully. If somebody has told you this house costs 20 million, if you pay your first installment of 30%, which is 6 million, the 14 million you must spread it for within 1 year or 2 years or what number of years, and this is how you spread it each month, equal amount. Anytime you default, first time we might pardon you and surcharge you, second time you default we'll pardon you, the third time we cancel it. Look at those tiny prints so that you do not violate what you have written and then give the developer the authority to actually to mishandle your money. Because if you've paid, for instance, 10 million about 5 years ago, it's not the same amount right now because of inflation and because of the devaluation of naira and all of that. So I really see, as I've seen a lot of people who have lost millions, billions because of that singular action. So what I tell anybody is that be very sure that you are clear with what you're signing. And then if it is possible, if it's we just get a lawyer, whether the lawyer friend or whatever, just get a lawyer who is able to look at the document for you at just next to nothing, because that amount will be next to nothing if you run into trouble. You may say, I just want to avoid that 100,000, I want to avoid that 200,000. That's fine. You avoid it for the 20 million or 50 million naira project. If you're not careful, you will run into bigger trouble. So I tell anybody, yes, you can negotiate with anybody. Okay, they're giving me a document, I've read it, it looks okay, but please just help me take a second look, bros. Now my church brother you build now 50,000 I will get to. The person will look at it that you have discussed before, and it takes a look and say, madam, look at this, so in case where you know pay, look at it. They'll just tell you where those landmines are, you know, so that you can run, because it has a big potential to actually derail that your dream house.
Okay, for the purpose of those, I'm sorry, I'm not for the purpose of those who actually want to do real estate business, who wants to buy and sell, you know, is real estate business profitable in Nigeria?
Fantastic, a beautiful question. Real estate is, somebody used to say, you can invest in real estate in Nigeria today. You can invest 10 million today and earn 20 million tomorrow, literally. Tomorrow, just I bought this house 10 million today and I want to sell it tomorrow, I may put it up for 20 million. It's only in Nigeria you can do it. In UK you can buy a property 10 million today and only sell maybe 12 million tomorrow. You can never sell it for 20 million. No,
it's regulated.
Seriously regulated. The opportunities are bigger here, but the risks also are higher here. You cannot get anybody who defrauds anyhow in UK. No, because of the regulation is heavier there, and so also what you can make is so the risk is less over there. So you must know that the higher the risks, the higher the reward. Somebody can buy a land down today, and just because maybe Wike just brought his whatever and open up a particular road in that land will become ×3.
Wow.
Yes, but in developed lands it's not like that. They already know, everybody knows where it's going to develop and when it's going to develop. Unlike here, we are working in blind way. It's the government, or the government can just wake up and start opening up. If you see what Wike is doing, it's opening up so many roads, so many places, and all. So it's making, and with those infrastructure you're seeing, that's value. The moment you see a road pass through your place, like, hey, I win jackpot because I bought that land, you know, maybe as a farmland, I waited for a few years, and then it's actually tripled, or even sometimes up to ×10 the worth of that land. So you bought a land 1 million and they're telling you now I want to sell it for 10 million. And you wonder, I just bought it just a year or two ago. Yes, because there's an infrastructure around it. So I tell you that there is the same way you have risk, high risk, there is high reward. So what I tell anybody is that risk, mitigate it to a large extent. Get somebody who is able to read within the lines to help you check, will this fly, will this not fly? Now when you have done that, also check with the government. You know, I told you about ages, I told you about this, I told you about that. Some people just want to buy land, they are not even checking ages. So people bought the land, they are not even registering the title. Maybe you have the title document, go and register it at ages, so that if it's in the company, if government say, I know you to be the owner, no matter whoever comes, they'll say no, he came first. The moment he bought the land, he registered it. Because if you buy a land and you never registered, and if another person picked a dummy document and registers it, that person is higher than you. You'll be the one fighting, you know, to be able to retrieve it. But the government will actually, they will identify that this, the first person to register that document may be assumed to be the owner. Now they will now say go to court.
Is it safe doing real estate business in our climate? We've heard so much of this real estate fraud and fraud.
Yeah, yes.
And the rest of it, you know. Sometimes
I know that there are some that became fraudulent, but I also know that there are some that the owners, those who wanted to buy, or are the ones who were not diligent enough in their checks.
Yeah,
I'm telling you. Now, I just told you right now that if somebody has said, if you default, this is what is going to slam on you, but you say you didn't read it, it's not the shout. It is what you have written, because it is a document thing when you go to court. But also beyond that, I was telling you that the government is the custodian of all lands. I'll give you an instance. There is a case of somebody in Lagos, whose land was actually taken off because of the coastal road. And the guy has, invested billions of dollars. Wow. You understand what I'm saying? And then it was because they now want to construct a road, and they had to actually demolish some of his resorts. He built a beach resort.
And it was well documented.
Yes, now, so what you now do is that, it was well documented. You know that government can tell you that, first of all, they said road will pass here. And so the guy built his resort here. But later they shifted back and said this is where the road will pass now. So because government, there is actually what we call overriding public interest. What it means is that even if the land I have given to you, I give you a CFO or government consent or whatever, which is actually the best document you can have, there can still be a reason why government can take up your land.
So if it takes the land,
if you've done all of the documentation, they will compensate you.
Okay.
So what people do, if you did not go through the process of registering well, you will not be compensated. Okay. So you may not be compensated. So that's why I tell anybody is that you do your own part, so that if there's even going to be anything that will not fly in your tomorrow and all that, you will still be compensated, because government understand that no, this person invested based on this document we gave him. And because we gave him this document, in our honor, we have to actually, first of all, maybe look for another place for him, and then also find a financial...
real estate business thrive more in urban areas.
Yeah, sure.
In rural areas, can real estate business be done?
Yes. You see, when you say rural area, you have to check. Maybe you have to tweak it to do other things with the. For instance, there's a resort in Kuje that I know here, where the person he call it farm resort. Farm resort. What it means is that you come over there and everything is just farm fresh. But you can stay there, you can live there. Like, you understand? So people go right there. I've seen a whole lot of person go do their retreats, their picnic, their whatever over there. You must be creative to have a comparative advantage. So people who go there, instead of going to Transcorp that everything is just mortar and wood, they go to a place where it's just nature. You're going around, you see a pond, you see, a whole lot of stuff. So if you want to do anything in the countryside, you understand, you need to really be creative, so that you will have a comparative advantage. There's no way a Transcorp can ever be like that one, and there's no way that one can be like Transcorp. Yes, but if you now say, I'm in Kuje, but I want it to be 5-star, and then no, come on, it won't work. Look at the greens, look at some trees, look at some. In fact, you see the way people troop. I know how many people troop there, because people are already tired of being in the city. So during the Christmas and New Year and those holidays, you see people move in that direction. They just want to be in a place over the weekend for like a week or two where they are close to nature.
holidays.
So yes, holidays. So you must actually check, what am I doing? What am I using somewhere for?
Okay.
You know, that will really justify why people want to leave their home. My wife has been telling me, you know, honey, let's just go spend some time over there. Right? It's just because of my busy schedule, and we that is what it is. A friend went there and he said, wow, lovely. So all I'm saying is, be creative, know what will sell, know what gives you unique selling advantage.
Okay. Now, a lot of people want to actually go into real estate.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have the money to actually do the business.
Yeah.
Now, what is the mortgage system or bank doing about it? Are they actually receptive to people who come for assistance in doing real estate business in Nigeria?
Yeah, I tell you that the major factor that we have in terms of growing the real estate industry, I will sit it with the mortgage system. Our mortgage system is too shallow, it's too small. It cannot carry the need of the people. I was at some point, I had some tete-a-tete with the Honorable Minister, Architect Dangiwa, you know, and while he was the CEO of FMB and Federal Mortgage Bank, and we paid him a courtesy visit, my company and my directors, we paid him, and we just said, you know what, you must think outside of the box to increase the mortgage deposit that you have. Nigerians are running into over 200 million Nigerians, and then you have this powdery sum. Even if they times it by over 10, over 100 of what he had, you understand what I'm saying? It still will not be enough for Nigeria to be able to provide mortgage. Because, for instance, all the time that they have been, I'm sure that they've not given up to 100,000 person mortgage. And so if you have 200 million and not up to 100,000 Nigerians have taken mortgage, there's a problem somewhere. So they must think outside the box, both government, the banks, and then the external inflows that can really partner them so that they can bring in money. Now, right now, he's the Honorable Minister for Housing, and he's looking very creatively to be able to see how to shore up, you know, the deposit with the mortgage so that more Nigerians can. But it's a key challenge that is stopping most Nigerians from owning home. Because if the mortgage system works, if more Nigerians can access it, then they can actually take mortgage, buy a house that will last you for 50 years. Why should you pay it from your pocket? In developed climes, once you can actually bring, let's say, 20% of any property, they will up it with another 80%.
I remember in Lagos, Jakonde houses in Lagos.
Yeah.
I know people are still paying.
Yeah.
I know an old man who pays. He goes to the bank to put in 500 naira, 1,000 naira, and that was the mortgage, you know, at that time. You know, so I hope that maybe Nigeria or the mortgage bank will try to do, especially with the youths, our unemployed youths, because this mortgage or the real estate thing is actually for the young people. Yes, honestly, because and they are not finding it easy. Finding assistance to be able to run this business. And a lot of them, I interact with some of them who wants to do it, who are doing it online and all those things, like you said, the marketing and so on. They actually want to do the real business, but they can't afford to do it. Yes.
The rule says that once you are over 18, you can access mortgage. That's what the rule says in Nigeria, and that you can pay through for maximum period of 30 years. So whichever one comes first, whether you are 60, before you are 60, or you've spent you've done 30 years within the service, anyone that comes first. But the issue there is that the deposit with the Federal Mortgage Bank and indeed other primary mortgage banks they need to recapitalize. That's just the simple thing. The Federal Mortgage Bank needs to heavily recapitalize. the private mortgage bank need to heavily recapitalize so that more Nigerians can really walk up there. Look at what happened when our banks were very tiny in size. They had to just give a legislation. Okay, you know what, guys, whether you guys want to merge, whether you want to do whatever, but you need to recapitalize. The CBN set a rule, and you see they went all over the world to raise funds to be able to actually shore up their.
I think that should be done in the real estate.
Yeah, that needs to be done. It's very necessary. Yeah. It's very important.
Again, in real estate, you see everybody calling themselves real estate consultant, managers, and all those things. Yeah. Agents. Who is a realtor? What's the difference between a realtor and agent?
I love that. Actually, people make mistake to call anybody who is in real estate a realtor. A realtor is actually, it's a name given to anyone that is registered with National Association of Realtors USA. National NAR. If you are registered with National Association of Realtors United States, is actually a global stuff in several other whatever, but National Association of Realtors. In Nigeria alone, I'm not sure we have up to 50 realtors. I'm one. I didn't bring my lapel here, just you see the R there. But people thought that anyone that is a real estate agent is a realtor. No, realtor is for a particular organization, it's a brand, you understand, it's a particular organization that if you are registered with us, and there's a painstaking whatever that you go through process to become a realtor. I'm not sure we have more than 50 or so in Nigeria. That's one. Then two, now for you to be even an agent, we use that word agent very, very cheapishly. You know, in other developed client, it's something that you train to become. You are not just an agent just because it's not for all-comer affair. It's not an all-comer affair. You have to train to be licensed to be an agent. In a developed client.
To be an agent.
Yeah, to be an agent. To be an agent, because an agent is someone who should guide a buyer or a seller through the process, so that there's no.
And a realtor.
No, a realtor is a registered name for an association, for a particular association in US.
Okay, because I'm a realtor.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying that they use
some of them will not even agree to the agent thing, that I'm not an agent, I'm a realtor.
Yeah,
I don't know what the difference between the realtor and the agent, housing agent is now. You know?
In Nigeria currently, the agents, we have too many agents that are not trained. That's the first one. So you can say that maybe in Nigeria, I'm the General Secretary, Association of Estate Agents in Nigeria.
Okay.
FCT chapter. I'm the General Secretary.
Okay.
So now, but how many persons are there? Because it's terribly unregulated. So because it is not regulated, every deep Tom and Harry on the street will do real estate. So now if you want to regulate, you're supposed to actually get registered with us, have training, the required training, and be certified.
Okay.
So there is a certification that you're supposed to go through to be an agent in Nigeria, so that you can be called an agent. Now there is a certification you do with National Association of Realtors USA to be called a realtor. These are two different things. You must be a member of National Association of Realtors USA to be called a realtor. But if you are trained and certified as an estate agent, you can be called an estate agent in Nigeria. But too many persons, they are not any of the two. They are not. I can tell you that 99% of those who call themselves realtor are not, because I know the number of those who are realtors in Nigeria. You saw what I wrote. That's actually CIPS. They are not up to 25 people in Nigeria. CIPS, Certified International Property Specialist. Just you understand. So basically, we still have a long way to go to clean up the system. Lagos is taking a lead in this side. I hope at some point the FCT will rise up, to be able to do so. But Lagos is really cleaning up. Right now, they are registering this. If you want to, for instance, you say you want to do anything, you just go to the website and they will check whether you're a member, whether you're an agent. If you are not, they will tell you don't deal with anybody. There's a whole lot of first that Lagos is taking. But we now have an honorable minister that is really, it's doing fantastic fantastically well in terms of providing infrastructure, which is very critical to real estate industry in Nigeria. I mean, in FCT, which the Honorable Minister is doing. Now, I hope that it will go further to be able to really help this particular industry to, to move.
You may want to tell us the impact of the real estate sector to the economic growth in Nigeria.
I tell people that if you're desirous of reaching to the high, medium, low, the best area to do that is through real estate. You know what? When you want to build a house, the architect, which is actually primed to be on the high, the architect, the engineers, all kinds of person will be involved. So the money moves through the chain, through the value chain. Then the middle one, maybe you have all of the plumbers, you have all of the the carpenters, the people who make the tilers, and you have then on the lower you have the mason, you have the thing that reaches out to if you want to develop an area, face the real estate. If you're doing real estate, everybody is benefiting, both the top, the middle class, and the low class. Everybody will benefit. And I tell you that there is no industry that has the capacity to be able to take in investment as much as real estate. No other area. You can't say, okay, I want to go into farming. How much are you going to spend in the farming? I say I want to go into whatever. Look at somebody who is doing. Look at even what we call prop tech, property technology right now. With prop tech, I can sit down there and lock up all my houses in anywhere. So the days of saying, oh, okay, tenant don't pay, it's gone.
Okay, what happened?
If I build a house and I tell you, okay, this is the time when you pay me. These are you already written it in an agreement, and then you codify all of the doors. The doors, you automate it.
Wow.
You automate it. So that's what happens whenever you visit an hotel.
Yeah.
Whenever your time, when you check out, you can't check in anymore. This is the same thing. These days, once you have given, okay, how long are you going to stay? I want to stay for 1 year. That's fine. From January to 31st. From 1st, as the guy is coming from all night, he cannot enter the house. Because he knows that it's already automated. So you don't, when people say, I can't even put my money in real estate to collect money from tenants, it's because you are still living the old style. If you go, you can have 1,000 houses. Now on top of your system, laptop, you will be automating everything. Once you see the alarm, you automate. Do you go to NEPA to go? You just buy your credit anyway, your scratch card, your phone. That's the way real estate is now. So you can have 1,000 unit houses, rental houses, and only you will do everything. Something is not fixing right there. You have people, you already have list of persons, maybe electrician and other. You just go to social number, you go there, they fix it, they get to your.
Ambassador Obisesan.
Yep.
Can you take us through your real estate journey?
Okay. Okay, if we will take you to my real estate journey, it started in 2002. Our very first house. Well, what happened is we got a house from FHA. I got what we call an allocation, and then we were able to also get somebody who was able to buy for a higher amount. So, for instance, if we bought for 2 million and we sell for 3 million, so we got the differential. That was my first intro.
This is actually an ongoing topic we'll be discussing, because the real estate business is very essential. In 30 seconds, what would be your advice to the young people?
To the young people, I would just say, look, you know what? Get serious. Get serious. Identify the areas where you want to play. Any area can lead you anywhere. Just identify. If it is real estate, that's fine. Inside real estate, check the area you want to play. If it is art, fine. Inside art, check whatever. If it's anything agriculture, that's fine.
Thank you very much.
Just check anywhere.
Thank you so much for coming on this show. We are so glad to having you here. And like I told you, it's an ongoing topic. And we would like to have you again very soon in this studio for the same real estate business in Nigeria. And this is the much we can take on this week's episode of Generations Gist with Joy. But before we go, don't forget to always be a part of this show by following us on all our social media platforms. For inquiries and sponsorship, please send us an email to generationsgistwithjoy@gmail.com. Until I come your way same time next week, remember, your generation is your identity. Let us always be our brother's keeper. Remain a patriotic Nigerian. I am Joy Onu. See you next week.